to introduce Ms. Sharon Teo to kickstart this portion of the webinar. Sharon is the chairperson of SGTech Singapore Enterprise Chapter, and the chapter comprises of local SMEs who are in the business of solving customer issues with digital tools. Yep, so without further ado, over to you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you, Song Jie. Hi, everyone. This is Sharon. I'm from the Singapore Enterprise Chapter. So quick introduction about who Singapore Enterprise Chapter is. We prioritize local tech-enabled businesses to grow within and beyond Singapore. Our mission is to help local companies strategize and evolve their capabilities by connecting to an ecosystem of like-minded entrepreneurs and resources for future success. In this community effort to support our SMEs and startups in Singapore, SEC embarks on this solution toolbox to showcase some of the off-the-shelf solutions to help our SMEs survive the current crisis and transform their business for the future. We started this solution toolbox since 15th of April, and we have actually featured quite a couple of 6 solutions on work from home staff management. And on 24th, we continue with some other work from home solutions, whether is it telecommunicating tools, robotic solutions, or communication solutions. And yesterday, we also just completed another 4 solutions, which is related to data protection. So if you like to see the past solutions, feel free to go to isolation.sg and click on the link where it says SME Solution Toolbox. All right, so for today, we're going to feature these following 7 companies. Please stay on the line to listen out to some of the great offers that some of these security companies have for all of us. And before I pass it on to Song Jie, I will be coming in to do a Q&A session for any of you who may have any questions for all these companies. Feel free to just drop in any questions as and when the speaker is talking, so that when the Q&A session is on, I can always take it on and direct the questions to the relative companies. And while you are putting in any questions, because there are 7 companies here, please remember to indicate whether you are directing at a specific person or company name, so that it's easier for us to do the routing of the questions to the respective parties. So back to you, Song Jie. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sharon. Okay, so with all that said, now it's time to check out the solutions we have in the toolbox today. First up, I'd like to invite Ivy from CS Intelligence to present on her solution. Ivy?
Hi, Song Jie. Thanks for the introduction. And hi, everyone. This is Ivy from CS Intelligence. I'm just going to share my screen and then bring up my slides. Okay. Yep, there we go. Alrighty, thank you everyone. Once again, good afternoon. I'm Ivy, Senior Director of CS Intelligence. A lot of us find ourselves now working from home. So are we cyberproof or are we cyber safe? So you might ask, Ivy, why am I vulnerable? There is a difference between the corporate networks and our home networks. For office networks, there's usually layers of security in place, starting with firewalls to detect malicious activity coming from the World Wide Web. However, for home networks, we usually do not have firewalls in place. Even with password-protected routers, hackers can easily slip malicious files into home networks. But then you may ask, is VPN enough? No, it isn't. Malware and virus infect our machines, and they easily then infect the company's network. Then again, we also saw many COVID-19 team phishing attacks. I'll share with you what we have experienced ourselves. And also telecommute applications. Our earlier speakers have talked about a lot of vulnerabilities. I will briefly touch on them and how they affect you as well. So the COVID-19 team phishing attacks, the Xingxiong, this is something that I received on my WhatsApp. It's sent by well-meaning contacts. If I would have been a little bit greedy, I may have clicked into it and it would have caused my mobile device to be vulnerable. Okay, and next, escalated to us by our customer. It was an email that was sent to them, and then it led them to this page. This is something that we receive ourselves, and all it takes is just one click. Let's take a look at the telecommute vulnerabilities. So on the 20th of April, these are really recent cases, right? On 20th of April, Google issued security warning to users of the Chrome vulnerability. Good news is it has ever since been patched. On the 24th of April, Business Insider Singapore reported that iPhone can be infected without users even opening their text messages. On 27th April, cybersecurity research of CyberArk warns that Microsoft Teams vulnerability allow hackers to send a malicious picture file that actually scouts for user data and ultimately taking over the organization's entire Teams account. So these incidents have two things in common. One, these are beyond our control because these are not applications that is built by our company, your company. It's not applications that you have direct control over. The second, they usually go undetected. These threats go undetected without our knowledge. So what do the hackers do? So the hackers leverage the unsecured networks to deliver emails, crafted emails and text messages to deliver their crafted malware. And then they gain control over your email and your devices like mobile and laptops. And once that happens, they install the malware, they execute the malware to obtain their prized possession. So how do they actually do that? That's by recording of your keystrokes, every keystroke that's ever typed into your computer. They do voice recording, screen recording, impersonation, Bitcoin mining, and ultimately ransomware. So an antivirus does not detect such hacker activities. So what can CS intelligence do for all of us? Coupling artificial and neural intelligence, we detect the advanced malicious activities and we disarm them and we stop them in their tracks real time. So why CS intelligence? We are able to provide 24/7 services round the clock, not restricted by physical location. Earlier, we have questions about, that the users are out of the environment, how do we get them protected quickly? How do we protect their laptop and their mobile devices? So our team can get in touch with your end users and then we can send them installer files and we can already get them started. The baseline protection are already in place, even if they are not on the internet. The only thing we can't do is that our Singapore cyber defenders are not able to remediate immediately. But however, if they come online, we'll be able to remediate the threats accordingly. We'll be able to disarm and sanitize your machines. And then, even installations is really easy. So we can get you started within 3 days. So you might think, Ivy, it sounds good, right? So how much does it cost? CS Intelligence right now is doing our part for the community, for the SME business community, for $0 per endpoint. If your company has minimally 25 endpoints, we do have a best effort service that is complimentary until 15th of July. If you like a higher commitment from us, you might consider Starter 8x5 or Starter 24/7. We also have advanced email threat protection starting from $7.50 per email per month. So that is a little QR code at the side. Just feel free to scan it and then get contact with us. So a little bit more managed PDR on their endpoints. This covers your laptops, your desktop devices. We do advanced threat eradication within 4 hours. We provide an incident report within 48 hours, and then a C-suite report that's more graphical, that makes more sense, starting from 20 devices and from 3 months subscription. We also have the micro SME packages. Just scan and contact us and we will get in touch with you accordingly. We do protect your mobile devices as well for only 25 per device per month. Okay, do scan the QR code and get in touch with us. So CS Intelligence has protected our clients worldwide, starting from Singapore and Asia and in Europe as well. So please contact us. I believe you have more questions, how we do it. We'll be happy to show you how the vulnerabilities can happen on your mobile and on your devices, whether you're in corporate networks or whether you're in public networks. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Back to you, Song Jie.
All right, thank you, Ivy. Next up, can we have Ken from Athena Dynamics to present his solution? Ken?
Yes, Song Jie, thank you very much. And I think first and foremost, I would like to thank SGTech for giving us this very good opportunity to share all these actionable items that we can contribute to the community in challenging COVID era like this right now. My first slide is this working space that the real working space that I'm working on right now, apparently from home. Just within a few months, we never expect that the entire landscape is as such. And why I circle the isolate word is I like to draw analogy, especially explaining to business people, not so much technical, but what we can see and learn a lot from this COVID era right now is a single most important fundamental is that when we do not have the solution of such case like COVID, isolation is still the fundamental way to deal with it. So this is our physical world. Now we are isolating. And if you think about this, drawing a parallel into the digital world, digital world is even more challenging because think about it, we have millions of new viruses every day. So that's why there are a lot of cases whereby current technologies of antivirus or detection-based technologies, no matter how much you invest in it, is still not enough. They are good, but they are not enough. So the bottom line is we need to isolate, right? So we bring the concept of isolation then into this digital world. Yeah, just a quick one. Athena Dynamics is a homegrown company whereby we have been focusing a lot in the government and high order security space in the plants and SCADA space. So this COVID environment gives us a very good opportunity to bring all this high order protection concept into SME at SME price point. So if we take a quick review on the challenge involved today, I won't repeat. I think you know the possible attack vectors is all around us. Okay, from browser, email to files, and right now with working from home activities, there are even more. All the messaging, external messages, downloads, and all this coming from the external. So the solution, if we look at the traditional way of protection, is mainly detection based. So the protection is never 100%. Of course, there's no security tool that's 100% accurate. However, the bottom line is because the detect way of doing is to detect, but today the malware is so advanced that we practically in the first place cannot detect them. Even we can detect them today, we cannot detect them tomorrow. So there are also false alarms and all this consideration. And there's a survey that only 45% of cyber attack can be detected generally from like antivirus. So we do container. We have an invisible container that try to approach this from an isolation perspective. So rather than just detection, okay. So when you run any application, even browser, you're actually running inside the container. And when you are infected, basically you just close it and everything will vanish like a dream. You are back to original state of the PC. So rather than just relying on detection, which is no longer effective today. All right. So this, I won't go through the detail, but you know, the moment you contain all these things without thinking about detection, any new threats that's coming in will also be contained inside, and all these possible attack vectors will be taken care of. Yeah. So they also have a slightly more enterprise version. If there's SME that's larger who needs a centralized management, they also have this kind of framework. So I have two short videos to share. The first one is about the concept of this container. I know working from home sometimes can be quite enclosing and boring. So the video can be a little bit light-hearted way to showcase the concept. All right. Okay, the tool is called Bufferzone.
Isolates web browsers, email attachments, and removable media in a secure virtual container. When you download or open a malicious file, malware will be trapped inside the container, where it can't do any harm. With Bufferzone, you are protected from phishing attacks, drive-by downloads, and other file-based threats. But what happens when you want to share an unknown file with other people without putting their computers and networks at risk? That's when you need Bufferzone's Secure Bridge. The Bufferzone Bridge lets you safely transfer files from the virtual container to share with others, or to store on a secure part of the company network. The Bufferzone Bridge extracts the content from documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and photos, leaving anything malicious behind. It only takes a few seconds, and to the user, the file looks exactly the same. The Secure Bridge works seamlessly with the Bufferzone container to keep the entire enterprise safe. See for yourself. Get a demo of the Bufferzone Bridge today.
Okay, the second video I would like to showcase, just now that one is more like a concept of the container. Second one is a real experience of how a ransomware attack happened and how the Bufferzone container can is able to help. Okay, very typical, you'll receive an email like this.
We received this ransomware inside an email attachment. It's embedded in a Word file that looks harmless.
You see the yellow border? You're running inside the
When
container.
you open the file, the malware silently downloads onto the computer. By the time you realize that the file isn't legitimate and close it, it's too late. At this point, the malware keeps quiet, so a lot of users would decide that the file was just spam. But in fact, the ransomware is busy working in the background, locking our files. 10 minutes later, the ransom note arrives threatening to destroy the encryption keys if we don't follow their instructions. When we click on Show Files, we see a list of all the files on the disk that were supposedly encrypted. No worries, we are protecting email attachments with Bufferzone. The infected Word file was opened in an invisible virtual container. When Word is running inside the container, it is actually segregated from the file system, the registry, and the computer's memory. When the ransomware tried to access our files, they were copied into the container. The ransomware has encrypted the copy, but our original files are safe. If the exploit tried to write to the registry or memory, it would also be fooled into accessing the virtual copy. The Bufferzone container is also segregated from the network, so the ransomware cannot get out to infect other computers. To eliminate the ransomware, we simply empty the Bufferzone container.
So the
You see
files
that
will be
the
back.
encrypted files are gone, but the original files remain.
Okay, I wouldn't stay in this video for too long. Let's move on. Then the last slide on the pricing proposition that we specially package for SME under the circumstances today. So it's priced at 120 per user per year with a minimum of order quantity of just 10, and then minimum terms of 2 years, and also the support service credit as such. Yeah. So if there's any interest, you can always email to us at contact@finadynamics.com. Our full team of sales and engineers people will be able to attend to your queries. Yeah. So yeah, that's my last slide. If you have any other inquiry with regard to cybersecurity, include training or maybe services or any doubt, feel free to contact us. All right. So I'm from SGTech cybersecurity chapter as well. Feel free if you have any interest to join the cybersecurity chapter. All right. Thank you for your time. All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Ken. Okay, next up, we have Yen from Network Box to present his solution. Yen, over to you. Yen?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Everybody can hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you, SGTech, for this fantastic initiative. We are Network Box, and we are a managed security service provider. So we protect IT networks from companies. As a company, you have, in fact, 3 choices. If you have an IT department, you can do it yourself, or you outsource to a system integrator, or to a managed security service provider, as we are. The difference between a managed security service provider and an SI or do-it-yourself is that updating, maintenance is done from time to time, whereas a managed security service provider is supposed to do that on a continuous basis. We differentiate within our sector by offering this, monitoring and updating every 8 seconds at quite affordable cost. On top of that, in the current times with COVID, our platform standardly provides VPN connections so that people can work securely from home. Before we go further into what we deliver, a quick draw-up of the cyber landscape. All companies in the past, you can say 20 years, whether they are small or large, they have been struggling with spams, viruses, interfering with the daily work. And that is if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, it was not only annoying, but at a certain point of time, data was not accessible anymore. And your company information and information of individuals was in the hands of criminals doing all bad things with it. All those companies, in principle, all of them, they had systems in place like firewalls, antivirus systems, and they have already proved to be not good enough for a long time. Any professional intruder is able to almost walk in to a network without much trouble. So what real protection requires is eye on the ball for 24 hours a day, the whole year through, and updating continuously the software you have in your network. And that platform is just provided by NetworkBox. 24 hours per day monitoring, updating every 8 seconds on average to have a reasonable chance to keep your network clean. So coming back to what is in place for a long time already, the reason that there are loopholes again is because in the defense is because it is not updated all the time. And through our push system, we update, as I mentioned, every 8 seconds. On top of that, we work together with 70 security partners worldwide. And the main reason to work with them is to share information. When our partners receive a new threat, they share with us and we share with them so that each of us can then update the defense against the new threat. So cybersecurity is a very complex business. And what we are trying to do is to make it simple for the users, especially for the SMEs who have no IT department, or they have an IT department, but you cannot be a master in every field. On top of that, we have been approved by IMDA, which is unlocking 80% of grants for SMEs, for those SMEs who qualify as an SME in Singapore. So what our client sees is the hardware device on site, but there is a world behind it. First of all, there are engineers working around the clock the whole year through to deal with the latest threats. There's all sorts of modules, technologies, which we deploy, artificial intelligence, heuristic modules, machine learning, in order to be ahead of the intruder or be ahead of the latest ransomware or the latest virus. That is what we do in Singapore already for 6 years. Our head office is already in business during 20 years. Our smallest client in Singapore has 4 digital users. We have a couple of big ones in Hong Kong with over 50,000 users. And for example, companies in Singapore like IKEA, Courts, Robinson, Metro, and to mention a few well-known brands, are our clients already for some time. Thank you very much. Any questions will be welcome, either today through this platform, or later you can email me or call me on my mobile for any further advice or question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ian. All right, now before I invite the next speaker up, just to remind all the attendees, you may submit any questions you have directed to the particular company or solution using the Q&A function in Zoom. Okay, so next up we have Alex from DT Asia to present his solution. Alex?
Hello everyone. Let me share my slide out. Okay, so far everyone has been looking at solutions that deals with external threats. So I'm going to give a bit of a spin here. It's going to be more internal threats. Okay, so for my topic today, I'm to talk about an area that some small and mid-sized companies are aware of, but most do not know that it is a risk. most small and mid-sized enterprise do not have a comprehensive information management security system. And therefore do not have a proper way to implement control in two key areas: access control and vendor management. So the problem is in our outsource and cloud economy that many organizations are already familiar with. Because of resource issue, not many have a large in-house technical team. Fewer have an in-house security team, right? You do not mix the IT team from the security team, right? So IT team help you with your endpoint, your server, your router, but security team takes care of cyber security and information security. So in such environment, they have maybe one or two engineers handling all aspects of okay, so they have one or two engineers handling all aspects of technical work. A large part is outsourced. In such cases, these people have privileged users. That is, they have full administrative rights to the systems, your applications, and your data. The question is, do you and can you trust your staff or the worst case outsourced vendor 100%? Most will have no choice and will say yes, but the truth is no one should be trusted 100%. There should be checks and balances. There should be properly documented policies and processes. Ideally, there should be some tools to manage this. This is the concept of zero trust. Trust no one, give access only to few on a need-to basis. Large organizations can deploy an expensive PAM solution, but they still do not handle password management issue, deployment issue, or even server access management, etc. quite well. So what is our solution to this? Right. So I am representing DT Asia, and I partner with this company called SSH, and our product is called Prevex. It is a zero trust server access management solution that provide credentialless access using ephemeral certificate. You ask me what is ephemeral certificate? It's basically a short expiry certificate, meaning the cert only lasts for a couple of hours or during the duration of access. This is used to sign in privileged users to server, both on-premise or if it's cloud hosted. This solution is also include a key features commonly found in PAM solution, such as session recordings of both Windows RDP and SSH sessions. It comes with workflow approval, so you can get your authority to approve it, to have integration, etc. So how does this solution works now? Okay, so this solution replace your PAM and your jump host, right? It has a system to manage the privileged administrators and vendor access to your backend server. Instead of RDP or SSH to the server behind the firewall directly, you log into Prevex with a workflow to your boss for approval and 2FA authentication, right? The Prevex then handles the connection between the user and the backend critical server using that short expiry set. All sessions can then be recorded for deterrence or for forensic purpose. When the administrator logs out of the server, this certificate will be destroyed and no one can use it to access the server again. Since there's no credential and password allowed on that server, literally no one can access the server except for this route. Right? This makes password management a thing of the past because most user passwords are not strong enough. We can pitch cyber hygiene, tell them that they need to have complex password, but most will use very simple password. Or worse, they got photo-protected, right? They also allow a precise role-based access to your resources, your servers, your applications, without complicated configuration work from a single platform. It is fast and easy to deploy new servers, new users, and external vendor, and some of it does not have your AD access. And even if your organization does not have a CISO or an ISMS in place, just putting this in as a control to manage user access is already keep a lot of value in terms of securing your critical infrastructure. So for the purpose, okay, so today we have presented just one piece of the puzzle. You've seen some other piece of the puzzle like the network-based solution from some of the partners here, endpoint solution, network solution. So to really secure the work from home crowd, you will need more than just the Zero Trust Access System. You need the SD-WAN or SASE, you need an MFA or 2FA solution or hardware key to complete the solution stack. If you want to find out more, do reach out to us and we'll share more with you. But for the purpose of supporting our businesses during this COVID-19 period, we are working with our principal and service partner to support our company with the home initiative. Previous can be operated on-premise or cloud, and our offering for the first-hand customer will be a promotional yearly subscription for the rate of 4,000 USD yearly. The usual price is 6,000. So these are for people, the customer that manage the infrastructure themselves. But to further support SME with less than 10 servers or prefer not to operate their own infrastructure, right? We will work with our service partner to provide it as a SaaS subscription at $80 per month, minimum 2 servers for 1 year subscription. So do contact us for more information. So with this, that's the end of my presentation. Any question, let me know. I'll hand it back to Song Jin.
All right, thank you so much, Alex. Okay, before we move on to the next presenter, I'd like to remind all the attendees if you have any questions for all the presenters of the solutions that have presented so far, feel free to share them on the Q&A panel, and then later we'll collate all these questions and have a Q&A session after all the presenters have presented. Yeah. Okay, next up, let's have Kenneth from NetPlus Asia to present his solution. Kenneth?
Thanks, Song Jie, and thank you, SGTech, for the invite. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kenneth from NetPlus Asia. I'll be sharing how companies, especially the SMEs, can be cyber protected 360 degrees with a managed integrated solution. And shifting up your cyber defense layer, redefining your first line of defense. As a business, we know we need cyber protection, but to be cyber resilient is not easy. So many tools required to protect your business, which can be complex and costly. In an SME environment, the decision makers are sometimes not technically savvy and generally don't have a big IT team. Today, with circuit breaker, working from home situation, your staff handling your cybersecurity can also be challenging in the event of a cyber attack catching you unawares. Introducing eSentinel, a 360 managed cybersecurity integrated platform, simplified by NetPlus Asia, designed with SMEs in mind. Today, whether is it a circuit breaker or not, as a managed service, we take the complexities of you and working with your IT to manage 3 key areas: attack prevention, threat detection, and security assessment. Under the category attack prevention, eSentinel, upon detecting a DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack on your network, it will automatically start the mitigation process, routing clean traffic back to your network. A solution that every company needs, a DDoS protection, yet few companies and few SMEs have it due to budget constraint. And with the next generation firewall, it has features such as intrusion prevention system, protecting your company against known threats. And web filtering, organizations can restrict staff from entering inappropriate websites such as video streaming sites, adult sites, etc. And sometimes staff may accidentally click on phishing email link, leading them to malicious website. And that is where you are at risk of being compromised, which is why antivirus and anti-spam is also much needed. Moving on to threat detection, a very useful tool, Security Information Event Management, SIEM for short, is mostly used by global enterprises, MNCs, due to the heavy price tag. SIEM, coupled with a log analyzer, analyzes the data of your monitored devices, servers, and send out alerts when vulnerability is detected, providing solution to remedy. And together with NetPlus Security Network Operations Center, as a managed service, we provide 24 hours monitoring. In the event of a cyber incident detected, your IT will be notified and you can take timely action. The need to protect your data is more than ever today, especially for companies in certain industries such as finance, fintech, e-commerce, or companies holding on to sensitive data. As part of eSentinel managed service, we also provide a vulnerability assessment, sort of a report card where it identifies the gaps so that you are aware of what the gaps are, and you can take the necessary actions to tighten your parameters and harden your system, especially for the gaps that fall under high risk. On top of that, there are threats. Threats are always evolving, and eSentinel will provide a periodic scanning, monthly, quarterly, or depending on your business requirements, allowing you a timely intervention when the gap surfaces. As you can see, eSentinel is designed to provide you a first layer of defense, integrating with various enterprise tools, where such tools are generally beyond an SME's reach. Some businesses may already have in place some cybersecurity solutions, for example, a firewall, which is perfectly fine as eSentinel sits above your existing layer, defending you at internet service provider level. For companies without any cybersecurity today, eSentinel is perfect as a start, as it comprises a holistic solution managed by NetPlus as your cybersecurity service provider, protecting the business network from cyber attacks 24/7. You're happy to know that for ease of management, it allows you a 360 view in a single dashboard, giving insights, customize, and control on the various tools. Keeping SMEs in mind, we structured 3 business plans to choose from: Standard, Deluxe, and Premium, catering to different needs. We have kept the pricing low, providing you managed service starting from $199 per month. Starting from $199 per month with a minimum 12-month subscription, companies can start defending your parameters with eSentinel as your first layer of defense at the ISP level. We have an upcoming webinar on next week, 8th of May, 3 p.m. Do join us. Simply scan the QR code to register. I look forward to see you next week. Thank you. Over to you, Song Jie.
All right, thank you so much, Kenneth. Okay, next up, we have Kim Hock again from wizlynx to present his solution. Kim Hock?
Hi, thanks, Song Jie. Let me share my slide now. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. So just now I presented cyber hygiene based on the UK survey statistic that 80% of cyber attacks are the result of poor cyber security practice or cyber hygiene. So how about the remaining 20%, right? And also bear in mind, there's no 100% foolproof solutions. So in order to start to look into the remaining 20%, and you need to first do a security assessment on your ground jewel, your database, your application. So wizlynx basically offer cybersecurity assessment services. You can see on this slide all the assets: virus router, database, application, firewall, web, and so on and so on. So for SME, what is most important to them at this juncture during the COVID-19 crisis? Because you may launch your web application online, you may have your corporate website, you may take orders from a customer, you may perform some e-commerce transactions. So your application is critical to continue to run your business during this period. So I would suggest, at the bare minimum, you should start looking into performing web application pen tests. So web application pen tests basically look into all these checklists based on WAPT. So it includes injection flow, and so on. So my consultant will be able to help you to do the pen test remotely, to discover the vulnerability and to try to network penetration testing on your critical assets. So how choose the right pen test services? Because there are many providers out there, they will suggest you to do penetration testing, vulnerability assessment, how are you going about to evaluate them? So these are 7 pointers here that you can use as a check cost. Of course, price is important. I think during this COVID-19, all SME boss try to conserve the cash and look for best offer in the market. Later, I will show you a SME package that available to audience here. So these are the 7 pointers that you guys can use as a checklist to evaluate the services offered by the different vendors. And this is a slide that I presented in ISACA. So ISACA is a professional body for IT auditor, which I presented a seminar back applicable today. Yeah. So this is a SME package. I try to I mentioned just now. So if you are fulfilling this prerequisite and you agree with the term and condition and the scope of work, and also what you're looking for is a CREST accredited member company pen test report. I will offer you a special price promise. Will be much better than you get from outside. And also this is only applicable during the DORSCON Orange period or higher. Yeah. So just to illustrate a bit more here, what is GP WAPT? It's basically a gray box web application pen test. And BB WAPT is a black box web application pen test. And NPT is a network pen test, while VA is the vulnerability assessment. So feel free to approach me. So you agree with this term and condition and you're fulfilling the prerequisite. And what you're looking for is a CREST accredited pen test report. Beside pen test, I do also cyber hygiene assessment, and especially from SME who need to comply with MSTRM, MAS cyber hygiene notice, which is supposed to be deadline is this year, but I think it may have to postpone it, So I also do OS hardening, application hardening review. So it's basically a review of if SME or company has correctly hardening their OS and application. Social engineering is one of our key services, phishing email, phishing attacks with URL and so on and so on. VA, network pen test, wireless penetration testing, firewall review, and red teaming as well. So to test your defense of company that able to defend simulated attacks, on people, on process and technology. So beside I also offering the application pen test, mobile app pen test, and lastly, secure code review. So secure code review, basically, my consultant will scan through your static code, be it in Java, ASP, and so on and so on. So this is my contact number. Thank you very much for this time, and thanks a lot, Song Jae, to organize this. I hand over back to you, Song Jae.
All right, thanks, Kim Hok. Okay, now for our final solution, we have John from Palo Alto Networks. John?
Hi, everybody. Hey, let me just share my slides. Okay. So just to continue from earlier on, where we were talking about the Palo Alto Networks secure remote access. Okay, so here is just a closer look for most of the enterprises or SME, SMB set up for this VPN on their side. They may have, for example, some network appliances in their premises. Okay, from here itself, you can see there's a connectivity. Depending on how they do the setup for the VPN, right? It could be a full tunnel, it could be a split tunnel itself. But what we're trying to show here is in terms of some of the limitations in terms of doing this kind of setup. Because for example, you can see here, if I do a full tunnel VPN, all your mobile users need to connect back to your data center before they can connect to the internet. And if you do a split tunnel VPN, okay, same thing, the mobile users will still connect to the data center, but the mobile users also connect direct to the public cloud internet, which will pose a security risk. Okay, so what do we have in place to address this is a solution called the Prisma Access. The Prisma Access is a SASE solution spelled as a SASE, which means Secure Access Service Edge. What it actually means is it actually provides you security as a layer as well as network as a layer. So in other words, you can see right here in this diagram itself, you have your users in the data center, branch mobile users, they all just connect to the Prisma Access SASE cloud. From there itself, we will help to do the consistent and management of the traffic and this connectivity towards your SaaS or towards the public cloud or towards the other sites per se. So the good thing about this solution is we are able to deploy quickly. It's just a simple logon to a configuration portal itself. You input some of the parameters, then the connectivity can be done. If you have some security policies on your in your data center or from your network appliances, we are able to do the migration of these security policies to this Prisma Access SASE solution as well, so that you have a uniform protection across your solutions on-premise or off-premise. Secondly is we have a global reach because our backbone itself is working with the cloud service provider, Amazon and Google Cloud. So in that aspect itself, our SLA is also following that at 99.9%. Okay, and lastly is we also do dynamic scale up and scale down. As and when there is a demand for traffic, we can scale up accordingly and can scale down accordingly. So this is just to show you in terms of the scaling metrics for customers running concurrently or mobile users running over time. You can see the different spikes of the remote access itself. Okay, we are able to address all these through our solution. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, we have the industry-leading SLAs because we rely on the backend, Google Cloud, as well as the Amazon AWS per se. So right now we have this offer to everyone is, okay, if you are a customer that is going to embark on this Prisma Access solution itself, we offer the free deployment for you, okay, for this period of time. That means to say that we do Palo Alto Networks itself will help you to do the remote setup and configuration and everything. You just need to input the information to them and they'll help you to do the setup. So on top of that wise, let's say for example, because right now, for example, in your company, you used to have 200 people working or 100 people working on site, and now will be with everyone working remotely, your full workforce is about 200, but you've only subscribed to, let's say, 100 licenses. So we are actually able to help you to cater for this additional licensing during this COVID-19 period. Okay, let's say you all of a sudden have 1,000 people that needs to work remotely from your company itself. We are able to provide you that additional licensing at no extra cost. It means at $0 itself. So these are two of the offers that I would like you to have a key takeaway for our secure access solution in light of the current COVID-19 situation. And the beauty of this solution is you don't need to worry about deploying any hardware at your office or data center or whatnot. It's all on the cloud itself, right? Okay, we have some of the testimonials from some of the customers itself, from a global mining company. It got up and running in a day. From a pharmaceutical company, over the weekend, we did a setup for them and it was done. For education itself, we're able to help them to facilitate their continuous education to their students remotely. And we also help out on some of the energy companies as well. Okay, so if you have any queries, please feel free to reach out to us at rapid-response@paloaltonetworks.com. Right, so that's all I have to share with you all. Thank you so much, SGTech, and thank you, everybody. Back to you, Song Jie.
All right, thanks, John. Okay, now that we've seen all the solutions, we'll go into a short time of Q&A. And before we do that, I'd like to share the screen over here. Just want to remind everyone, just want to let everyone know that we have a post-webinar industry survey that we can do. So while we wait for more questions to come into the Q&A, please help us to complete this survey. In this survey, you will also be able to indicate your interest in any of the solutions for them to contact you separately. Okay, so I'll hand the time over to Sharon to moderate the Q&A. Sharon?
Thank you, Song Jie. Yeah, hi everyone, I'm back again. So, okay, there were a few questions that were already answered, but I'll get back to you guys again if there are some other panelists who want to answer them. So let me look at those questions that are still open. To Kim Hawk, does wizlynx provide government funding support for your solution?
Thanks, Sharon, for the questions. For wizlynx, we are not under the government grant, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay. So for Ken, Tino Dynamics, what can a small business do in a single day that will improve our cybersecurity and protect our customer data?
Okay, simply put, as usual, we see cybersecurity in the perspective of people, process, technology. So people, we have small, lightweight training material. They can raise their awareness. Process-wise, I think not so much for SME audit and compliance, but like what Kim Hock mentioned earlier, simple VA will be useful. However, VA vulnerability assessment, typically the cost level may not be suitable for them. So we actually have another way to do is a binary scanner, which you do not need source code. You can scan application that they buy. Just a few $100 you can do per scan. You can buy loose pack. And technology-wise, I think the isolation platform would be quite a lightweight proposition for them. Or maybe in their network itself, they can do a lightweight monitoring tool that is not like enterprise grade, is expensive. We can even bring AI technologies into email services at something like $3 a month a user, but is scanning the email through a business context sensitive way. So these are various things. It depends very much on the use case actually. Yeah. Feel free to contact us. We have the right proposition. We can size up the use case accordingly.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, for some of you, if the answer has been given, if you want to provide contact details, you can always just put it in the answer question later. So, okay, so there's a question from Chengi. What is the current best practice to conduct a security risk assessment of a cloud vendor? Any of the panelists here want to answer this? Who would like to take this question? What is the current best practice to conduct a security risk assessment of a cloud vendor? Kim Hock, you want to answer?
So there's a different framework and guideline. I think one of the most famous one is the Cloud Security Alliance guideline. So you can refer to that framework, in terms of assessing the cloud security. It's a huge, document. There's many things to go through. It's not like simplistic, like a few pages. So you have to assess from different angle, policy, governance, and so on and so on. So you can email to me what you need. I can send it. It's a free document. I can send it back to you. Yeah? And I just posted my email contact in the chat also. So everybody have my email and also my LinkedIn connections for easy of contacts.
Right. Thanks, Kim Hock. Alex, you have something to share?
Oh, okay. Actually, I replied a little bit just now. So when evaluating SaaS or cloud service provider, right? As an SME, it may be difficult for you to assess them. So a good way is to check that if they have, they themselves are already certified with some of the industrial standards like ISO 27001, CSA star, like what you might say, or local standard SS584. So this will be a good indicator that they are very serious about their security. They have good ISMS in place to protect their infrastructure. But for cloud services providers that do not have such certification, the organization may need a simple way to evaluate them. So those you can engage a like of Kim Hock company or any service provider that can help to do the evaluation. Outsource the evaluation to a company. You can contact us. We can help with this assessment as well.
Okay. Bridget asks, would like to ask Ivy from CSI, why is antivirus not enough, as mentioned in your presentation?
Yeah, so antivirus is a signature-based type of detection engine. It's actually known malwares that it's on the antivirus and it scans and then it gets detected. So today, a lot of what our other other panelists they did mention, the threats are very advanced. The techniques are very advanced. So this usually go undetected by antivirus. So antivirus is definitely not enough.
Okay, Vishal, there's another question, sorry. How do you detect malicious threats and do you do on-site cleanup?
Okay, so there are two ways that we detect for the malicious threats. First way is through the AI technology tool. It gives us that alert. It has, pre-trained algorithms and all to do the detection based on behavioral, based on how the files and the malicious malware are behaving. The next one is once we detect that, and our team also regularly do threat hunting. So through our threat intelligence, we will threat hunt across all our customers, and then we will remediate the threats. We clean up the threats accordingly. So how are we doing it today? Like, even though we are in this COVID-19 situation, the whole team is sitting in Singapore. They are all Singapore cyber defenders, and then we are able to remediate and clean up, sanitize the machines off-site. So we do not need to go to somebody's house. Of course, no contact is best, right? Yeah, so we are able to, through our tool, to do the cleanup, the script cleanup, whatever that is remnants of that malware or how it's behaving. Yeah, we don't just quarantine, we don't just stop it, but we also help to do the cleanups wherever the machines are. I hope that answers the question.
Yep.
I would like to add to that.
Sure, Ken. Yeah.
So I can contribute with another detectionless protection. Yeah, so if you look the tools are detection based, machine learning, all trying to detect. So we can detect them in the first place. We can detect them today, we cannot detect them tomorrow. So it's just like COVID-19. We don't know this thing, so we isolate it. That's why we use the isolation approach, which is detectionless. And we also have other detectionless way, for example, like sanitization. So in a nutshell, we typically try to augment the detection side with detectionless technologies, with detox. So rather than detect, we detox. So we have various proposition now in the way that it is not a high cost way, it's cloud-based. So if you have a file, you're not too sure whether you go through detection tool, you can really clean it, you can send it in and then it can sanitize for you and come back without any detection. So this may be something that is low cost, that is workable for SME.
Okay, there's a very open question to all the, I suppose it's service providers here today that, do you have a data breach prevention strategy to prevent leakage of my data that you've access to in my environment? Who would like to take this question?
Can I give it a try?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, in order to prevent a data breach, there is an enormous amount of technologies and tools available for this. And the challenge is to have this seamlessly working together. So in the past, it was sort of quite common that action was undertaken after the breach, and that still today is remediating is one of the key things in order to clean up after a breach has happened. And that is quite understandable because whatever you undertake, there's always a way in almost. So the prevention is not only one thing. The prevention is a whole series of things. Series from a technical point of view, but also from an individual point of view. As an individual, always be suspicious. If you have a slight suspicion, just don't touch it, delete it. If it's a legitimate email, they will resend it. And with regard to technologies, one of the key things in there is to make use of latest developments in there. And each of my colleagues in here have their specific expertise. Our expertise is to scan all the traffic which is coming into the network at the perimeter. So all the flows which are coming in, it's scanned, and everything what shouldn't go in or shouldn't go out is blocked by network blocks. And that we have been doing quite successful for the past 20 years. But that doesn't guarantee that we will be okay tomorrow. Also bear in mind, this is at the perimeter. That doesn't protect you from a USB stick, which is smuggled into your network and put into one of your servers or into one of your machines. So it is requiring an overall approach. There's no simple, straightforward answer.
Thank you, Ian. Okay, just before we go on, I think what I'll do is, in case there are any other service providers who would like to answer this question, what I'm going to do is I put it under done. Then you go to the answered and then you can type in the answer so that we provide some, I think there's one more question here called, it's a very generic question. What is invisible internet? Please explain I to P demerits. Anyone can take this?
if invisible internet, maybe it's meant the dark web. It's that part of the web where the consumers cannot go into. And that is for very good reasons. For example, if you have company accounts or company information, you don't want that accessible to the wide world. So if you look at the internet, there's only 4% what is accessible for the public, and the rest is not accessible. And within that part, which is not accessible, there's the dark web. That is the part where criminal transactions take place. That is where criminals offer their stolen email accounts or stolen information and offer it to people who pay for it and who are then starting to work with it. I think that is meant with the invisible web.
I see, thank you. And just curious as a question for Net Plus, right? If business already have a firewall in place, would they still require, wouldn't the eSentinel be a duplication to whatever they already have? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Please go ahead.
Okay, so
Kenneth?
yeah. Hi, so for this, having a firewall in place today, for customers who have that, it actually becomes a two-tier firewall. They have the benefit of having a two-tier firewall. Because in the event of, say, for example, a DDoS attack, it tends to choke up the network, and the firewall on-prem, on the premise of the customers, they tend to be putting resources to fend off the attack, which then again will affect the productivity and all in the back end. So for us as a first layer of defense, we provide the firewall, we provide that mitigation against the traffic, the cyber attack, taking off the external. While we can take the load off the existing on-prem firewall, they can basically focus on the internal threats instead. So it will not be able to, it will be less impact on the business operations. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I add one? Can I add one?
Yeah, sure.
So firewall for the SMEs, firewall is separating your network from the entire internet. So a firewall is closing doors, so to speak. And the firewall is looking at the traffic, and when it comes from certain direction, it is denied to come into the network. Also through these ports which are open. Then you have further refined technologies, which is not only looking at the traffic, but at each individual packet. I always use the metaphor, if you are a guard and you need to protect the building, when there's someone nearing with a machine gun and he has a mask, you know that this is a bad guy. You close the door for him. That is called frontline inspection and detection. If the person has a nice suit and has a suitcase with him, you ask him for his IC, you ask him for his business card, you ask him who do you want to go and talk to. And dependent on the answers, you let him in or you keep him out. That is what is called deep packet inspection. So it's all those technologies, firewall, intrusion detection, inspection, antivirus, anti-spam, who all have to seamlessly work together to have a chance to keep the network protected against intruders.
Okay, so thank you everyone. This is our last question, and for the rest of the panelists, please look through some of the answered questions. If you think there are some of them that you can take it up, you can just directly type in. And thank you for the audience. And back to Song Jie, we've ended our Q&A session for today.
All right, thank you so much, Sharon, and all the speakers for the Q&A. Okay, so we're coming to the end of today's webinar. And yeah, before we go off, I'd like to remind everyone again, help us complete this post-webinar industry survey. We will gather your feedback and it will help us to create more initiatives that are relevant and helpful to you, such as these webinars. Yeah, so you may scan the QR code on the screen right here, or otherwise you may also, when you press the leave meeting, you'll be directed to the survey itself. Yep. So we really appreciate your help in completing this feedback form.
Yeah,
okay,
do indicate any of the vendors that you're keen to contact you in the survey itself. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sharon. Yep. So to all the attendees, thank you for participating in today's webinar and staying all the way through to the end. Please join us again tomorrow, where we will be exploring some solutions, and the topic of tomorrow will be e-commerce. Yep. So we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll leave this industry survey QR code on the screen, so you may still scan it. And if you have any more questions that you would like to ask, please you may do so in the Q&A panel. And I think the speakers who will stay around for a while more, they can answer you. They can answer your questions privately. All right. So I think that's all for us today. We'll be signing out. I'll be leaving this screen. I'll be sharing this screen still. Okay. Thank you, everybody. See you all tomorrow.
Okay, see you.